Welcome to Healing Wisdom, a Thursday morning talk show featuring guests sharing their stories and knowledge. We discuss the healing aspects of the arts, metaphysics, social justice, and adventure through all types of terrain. So join me, Pandora Peoples, here on WOMR 92.1 FM in Provincetown and WFMR 91.3 FM in Orleans. We're streaming worldwide at WOMR.org. My guest today has been nominated for the Best Blues Album Grammy 3 times in a row. She's won 10 Blues Music Awards, and she's singing at the Payomet Performing Arts Center on Thursday, August 1st at 7 p.m. Today we're talking about her new album, Mileage, out in August.
That's alright, mama. Any old way you do, that's alright. That's alright. Too. Girl, that gal you're fooling with, she ain't no good for you. That's alright, yeah, it's alright. That's alright now, mama. Any way you do, it's alright. Deep-a-deep-a-deep-a-deep-a.
Welcome, Ruthie Foster. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
So tell us how Mileage came into being. Give us a little backstory. How'd you come to work with producer Tyler Bryant?
Well, I had heard about Tyler through a guy who had a podcast who would generally go around and talk to people who had home studios during the pandemic. And Tyler was one of those people, and he mentioned that he was from East Texas, and that got my ear too. And the fact that he played some slide and played some dobro and rock music, and I love that. But I got to tell you, it was I have to give the credit to my manager, Peter Leak, with Red Light Management. Basically said, how about Tyler? Because he's half of the husband and wife team there with Larkin Poe. And I did know Rebecca and Megan of that group, and I loved what they did. And we would see each other on the road once in a while. So I thought, it really made sense. They was just up in Nashville, just up the road from me in Austin, Texas. So why not just have a meeting? And so, I flew over in between tours and had a meeting, and we started writing right away. It was, a little bit of feeling each other out for the first day, but I was there for 2-3 days, and we managed to get a song, I think maybe 2 songs in the first meeting, and just kept meeting up with each other every month for about a year. And here we go, brand new album.
People ask me what is love. I just point to you. People get so hung up, I just run to you. Love is making a good life, day by day by day. Love is taking our sweet time, wishing nothing away.
I'd love for you to talk about Rainbow.
Yeah, I guess Rainbow came about when me, Rebecca, and Tyler, we were sitting in the living room, which is where we would just basically sit and talk and chat and catch up with each other after tours, and just talking about how we're in this place now where we're still talking about who people are with, and as far as being all inclusive when it comes to love and who you love. And myself, having been with multiple partners, men and women, it's really just about love. It's about who you love. And we just really wanted to just sit and talk about that. And that's really how the song came about. We thought, well, why not just call it, we just start with a title, Rainbow. People always ask me, who you with, who you loving? Well, I just point to who I'm with. And it just kind of started with that. Yeah, that's kind of how Rainbow came about.
Creative collaborations are so personal because when we share and create art together, it's such an intimate, vulnerable place. What are your thoughts on that in terms of this new album, Mileage?
Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of vulnerability to put yourself in a room with somebody and write songs about your deepest feelings, or borrow someone else's, and try to come to the same place in a song. But I think it's also I found it's the quickest way, not to say that that's, generally a great thing, but for me, it's a painstaking thing for me to just sit and really write a song that I feel good about and really confident enough to put it in front of people. And so when I'm sitting in front of someone else who has an idea, we end up in the same place. That's always a real benefit. It's a huge, huge accomplishment. I'm not a big co-writer. I hadn't done a lot of that over the years. I did start out doing that. That's what I did when I lived in New York, writing for Atlantic Records. I always did co-writes. But I was, pretty young, and I would go and meet up with these people who were really used to co-writing. And they kind of guided me in the direction that they wanted to go in. And so I learned so many different ways to co-write. Sometimes we start with a title. I've written with William Bell, great soul singer, songwriter, and he starts with titles. And I thought that was great. And I guess I used a little bit of that theory, and sometimes I'd have a verse or an idea, and then we would build from that. We kind of were all over the place. And I think that's great. It's just a great way to write, just to stay open. Somebody comes up with a great line, and then we'll look at each other and go, that was great. Yeah. Let's keep that one. And then we just keep going. All of a sudden the momentum is going, and you just stay with it. And then, sometimes you have to go take a break, go eat, go get something to eat, maybe have a beverage, come back and go at it again. But, for the most part, I would come into Nashville. I'd fly into Nashville 2 or 3 days at a time, stay at a local hotel, and just take myself back and forth to their house to write, because it's important for me personally to have my headspace clear after doing, being in the trenches of writing together. That can be really intense. So it's good for me to come out, to pull out once in a while. And so it was important for me to just go have my own space, go get some dinner and have a good night's rest, and then come back in fresh. And that really works for me. And they were good about that too, because, they have lives. We all tour. You're right. It's not easy sitting across the room or sitting across the couch or the table with somebody. But once you really get to a level of trust, I think it gets easier, and you don't think about it. All of a sudden, it's not about you, the individual. It's about what you're building here. You're building this song. You're building a story together. They truly understand that, Tyler and Rebecca. They really, really get that, and I love that. And I love working with younger people too, fresh minds. They're quick. They're really, really fast when it comes to just coming up with ideas, and lyrically, they're brilliant.
Looking back, I see myself lost and searching for a home, too proud to ask for help, trying to do it all on my own. You move like moonlight across my endless nights, whispering secrets and the promises of a better life. Out of the darkness and into the day, you got the beauty that's guiding my way. It's that heart shine. Shine on, shine, shine on me. Let your heart shine. Bright as you wanna be. It's that heart shine. Keep it right on me.
If you're just joining us now, you're listening to Healing Wisdom on WOMR 92.1 FM in Provincetown and WFMR 91.3 FM in Orleans. We're streaming at WOMR.org. I'm Pandora Peoples. We're speaking with blues and folk singer-songwriter Ruthie Foster. Speaking of, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes or telling somebody else's story in your music, I love the song Death Came a-Knockin', Traveling Shoes.
It was passed down to me by a friend who lived in South Carolina. She said her grandmother lived in the Georgia Sea Islands, where a lot of people who were slaves lived. And she sung this song to me quite a few years ago. In fact, she's an actress dancer, and so she acted and danced the whole song while she sang it to me. I was in Charleston on vacation because I used to be stationed there. I was in the Navy there. And I still have a lot of friends there. So I was going to go have a beach vacation, and she and a bunch of friends of mine said that they were about to embark on this journey where they were going to retrace the Freedom Riders Trail, the young people who came down from the north into the south and registered Black voters, Black families and people to vote during the Civil Rights era. And so I was on this bus with all of these incredible people who were part of Southern history and Black history, and a rabbi, a priest, a couple of reverends, doctorates in any and every genre of education, a nurse who started the first protests for nurses' aides in Charleston, people who were movers and shakers. I was on a bus with all of these people, and we went throughout the South and talked to people who were part of the movement. And this is when this woman gave me this song. She says, I want to, we would come together every night after meeting these people who were part of the protests. And then we would just sit and talk about it and present what we got out of the day. And this woman sang this song, and it moved me. And I told her, I want to do this song. Is it okay if I do this song and record it? And she says, girl, it's not mine. Just take it and spread it around. and so, yeah, that's what the song was actually sung in a language called Gullah language, which is part, kind of English, kind of bad English, old English. And so I just kind of shined it up a little bit. And yeah, it's one of those songs you have to sing with conviction. It just says it all. Moving on, a homegoing.
Death came a knocking on my sister's door, singing, come on, sister, ain't ya ready to go? And my sister stooped down, buckled up her shoes, and she moved on down by the Jordan stream, and then she shouted, hallelujah, done my duty, got on my traveling shoes. Hey, 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 hey,
your rendition of Phenomenal Woman from Maya Angelou really sticks out in my mind. I've played it so many times on the radio. It was one of my favorite poems, so.
Mine too.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that album, which you named after the poem? Phenomenal Ruthie Foster. Always it was about you.
Well, that was the producer's idea. But I've always loved Maya Angelou. I grew up reading her books and obviously her poetry. And I loved a lot of the Black women who wrote during the 60s, 70s, 80s era when I was growing up in a small town in Texas, because I felt I could relate to the way they wrote, the rhythm in which they wrote. It was something I always wanted to be, was a writer because of that. Gwendolyn Brooks was another one of my favorites, and Nikki Giovanni. And I've got a chance to actually be in the presence of these women and hear them speak. It meant a lot to me to run across a musical version of Phenomenal Woman in my travels through a friend in Canada, Amy Sky, who actually set it to music. We happened to be in a song circle together at a Canadian festival. And it was she, myself, and Richie Havens. We were all in this song circle.
Wow.
And she did this. I know, right? Wow.
Yeah.
I've got her singing Phenomenal Woman on my right, and I've got Richie Havens on the left. And when she finished that song, he and I looked at each other and went, well, okay, then. I'm feeling like a phenomenal. Yeah. So I think it's a way to reiterate the song, reiterate and let people know. I don't know. I like to look at myself as an educator too, when it comes to music. And I got this from Pete Seeger. I got a chance to hang out with him when he was still with us. And what I loved about Pete was he was a teacher. He was an educator, and he used music to not just change minds, but it changed lives. And so I thought, well, here's another song I've got to get out here and sing. And of course, I asked for permission. I did send a request to Dr. Angela's office, and I got the okay to record the song, as did Amy. Amy did the same thing when she wrote it. So I do know that Dr. Maya did hear it because she sent me flowers to one of my shows when I was in North Carolina, where she was teaching at the time, where she was living at the time. So I do know she did hear it and appreciate it. Yeah.
Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride in my steps, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman. Phenomenal, 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 phenomenal woman. Phenomenal, baby, that's me. I walk into a room.
I love your version of Ocean of Tears off Runaway Soul. It's so beautiful. I just love the texture in the song. I just love the resonance of your voice.
Oh, you like the big songs. These are big songs. Wow. I got that from Big Maybelle Smith.
Oh.
Yeah, she recorded that. And, she had this big voice. She was a big mama with a big voice. And I think one of her songs that people might know is One Monkey Don't Stop No Show. That was one she recorded. Candy was another one. But yeah, when I found this one and her version of it, I had to sing it. I love big voices and great voices. like Mahalia Jackson. And I'm reading this book about Barbra Streisand right now, another beautiful voice, that can do anything. I'm a sucker for great songs and a big voice. So yeah, that's one of them.
Well, you definitely made Ocean of Tears your own.
Just reach right through the microphone. Yeah, that's what those songs do.
Yeah.
Mama, save your drowning child. Won't somebody please save the drowning child? Won't somebody please save the drowning child? Oh, I've been treated so bad by my lover. Nobody knows my trouble and fears. Every night I cry like a drowning child, sleep in an ocean of tears. I see no. I never treated him wrong. Oh, I never treated him wrong. I've been thinking of going to the river, but the river won't drown my fears. Every night I cry like a drowning child, sleep in an ocean of tears. I said, somebody hear my plea. I said,
What Kind of Fool Am I off Healing Time? Do you want to talk a little bit about that song?
Yeah, well, it's actually a song written by one of my band members, my guitar player, Haddon Sayers. Haddon brought that song to the band when we were writing for the album. The entire band wrote for this album. I can't credit myself as the only writer to these songs. Well, I think one of them I did write on my own. But it was a song that Haddon brought to the band, but it was a totally different groove when he was doing it on guitar. His was kind of, I don't know, he was kind of, what kind, let's say, da 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 fool am I, da 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 da. It was a little fast, but I have two producers on Healing Time, actually. And the first producer, he got in there and he's like, y'all need to slow this down and make it full and give Ruthie a chance to do her thing. And I was like, okay. And so, the band got together and found a way to slow the song down. And I just sung what came to me and the way it felt. And honestly, I think it might be a first take because the guys, all I know is I had my eyes closed through the whole thing. And I opened my eyes at the end of the song and the guys, their eyes were all big in the control room. And they were like, oh my God, that's what that song needed. So again, I guess it's just one of those, you put yourself in the song and the words say it all. Because, I hadn't sat and he brought us the first verse and then, actually most of the song. And then Scotty, my keyboard player, put in a little bit and then I put in a little bit. Very little, actually. When these guys come together to write, I'm in the kitchen making sure the pot roast is okay. And I come and check on them. Or the barbecue. I'm tending to what's going on in another room and I'll pop in and out and go, yeah, you need to change that chord. Can we move? Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah, I can sing that.
what kind of fool would love you? What kind of fool would even try? Transparent words, stars in your eyes, easy to see I've been hypnotized. What kind of fool? What kind of fool am I? What kind slips away so easy. What kind of soul can't be satisfied? What kind of love does it take to please me? What kind of fool am I? What kind of fool am I? Bending to reach for the sky, stoop down just to get high. What kind of fool am I?
When you were a little girl, you started playing guitar. Were you also singing as a child?
I sung very little, but I was encouraged by my mother and my relatives who were all singers. I grew up with a lot of incredible singers around me. And so it was intimidating for me to even want to sing. But I eventually did catch on to getting used to hearing my own voice. Yeah, I was an extremely shy kid growing up because I had very loud cousins, and I had a lot of them. There's 20 cousins. I grew up with 22 cousins around me, so I eventually found my own voice. That's for sure. We all did this thing in my church growing up where it was your rite of passage. You had to sing a solo after a certain period of time. And there came time for me to sing my own solo. I think that's when the rest of my family found out I had a voice. So, and I never stopped singing. I think it was my mother. My mother would listen to me play the guitar. I'd come in from school and I would grab my guitar and just sit and pick for a while. Hours. I'd just sit and pick for hours. And I think she got tired of it one day, because she walked into my room. I had to keep the door closed too. She walked into the room and she just swung open the door, and I thought I was in trouble. So I stood up with the guitar in my hand, and she just looked at me with her hand on her hip and she says, "Baby, just open your mouth and sing."
Wow, yeah.
And I thought, okay, so she did hear me. I'm in here whispering and trying to be quiet. And yeah, she encouraged me that day. It's okay. Just open your mouth and sing, girl. And I guess I've been doing it ever since.
What kind of fool am I?
Beautiful. Ruthie Foster, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to Healing Wisdom at Outermost Radio. All of our shows are podcasts at WOMR.org. Also check out healingwisdomradioshow.com and contact me at pandora@WOMR.org. Our theme music is provided by Mason. You can find her website at masonmusic.com. That's MAESYN.